There are many reasons why the Honda CR-V is the gold standard in suburban family haulers, not the least of which are its legendary reliability and no-nonsense storage capabilities. But not content to leave well enough alone, Honda decided to redesign its entry-level workhorse from the pavement up for 2017. At first glance, it's a tauter and more muscular, definitely bigger, with crisp angles and squared-off trim elements where softer curves used to be. More importantly, Honda added even more interior room, brought back a proper volume knob, and introduced an ultra-fuel-efficient turbocharged motor. Despite what might seem at first glance like wild departures, Honda actually plays it relatively safe, addressing some of the outgoing CR-V's weak points while mostly just giving customers more of what's always been great about it. The result is a stepped-up CR-V that delivers some great functionality, yet presents no significant risk to Honda's throne in this high-stakes segment. Easily the most revolutionary change for 2017 is that turbocharged 1.5 liters, which with the help of a CVT transmission nets the CR-V a class-leading 29 miles per gallon combined. Even with AWD, real-world highway mileage is upwards of 34. Astonishing for a vehicle of its size. The smaller Hyundai Tucson, also turbocharged, gets only 26 miles per gallon combined, including only 30 on the highway. Sourced from the Civic, the boosted 1.5 nets 190 horsepower and 176 pounds-to-foot of torque, which after momentary turbo lag gets the nearly 3,500-pound CR-V up to speed without a lot of drama unless you count its perfectly tuned exhaust note. While the CR-V is no race car, the power feels like plenty for city maneuvers and on-ramp merging, and it goes to the wheels via a surprisingly well-mannered CVT, which keeps right out of its own way with little of the surging and power sapping typically associated with continuously variable gears. Completing this impressive powertrain is an optional AWD system, which kept the CR-V sure-footedly stuck to the road through all the miserable weather it saw during my week on the road with it. Though it lacks the off-road trimmings like lockers and hill descent offered on some competitors, at least the ground clearance is there if you do hit some terrain or deep snow. The CR-V's 8.2 inches handily beats the Toyota RAV4 6.5. As for the rest of the drive, there's very little to complain about. It rides fairly quietly, you get a bit of harshness over truly punishing surfaces, but it's uneventful everywhere else. Body dynamics have been improved this year to reduce roll, and the CR-V is arguably the least wallowy, most composed-feeling small SUV on the market. The steering feels precise and connected, which combined with the suspension feedback and excellent braking makes for a sure-footed, confident critter under all driving and weather conditions. A test panic stop on a downhill grade in the wet kicked in the ABS and lowered the nose, but with none of the squirreliness and crunching typically encountered in heavy SUVs. But what really gets shoppers excited about the CR-V, and probably its greatest claim to value besides its stellar mileage, is on the inside, its cavernous cargo volume, which leads the compact SUV segment as 75.8 cubic feet with the rear seats down. This is nearly a full 2.5 cubic feet more than first runner-up RAV4, despite the Toyota's 3 additional inches of overall length. Moreover, a wheelbase that's been lengthened since the outgoing model affords an extra 2 inches of legroom for rear seat passengers in addition to the expanded cargo space. For hauling capacity and clever use of interior space, you're simply not going to do any better in this segment. The inside makes the vehicle feel larger than it really is, and is roomy enough that the CR-V can be legitimately cross-shopped against bigger, thirstier, and more expensive SUVs like Ford Explorer, to which it comes within 5 cubic feet, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee, which it beats in total volume. Honda additionally provides clever ways to access all this space, with wide door openings enabling easy entry and exit, a hands-free auto-opening liftgate, wave your foot under the bumper when you have the fob on you and the hatch will slowly ascend, and dual ergonomic levers in the cargo area to flip down the 60/40 split rear seats. Heck, you could just about live in this thing, if it came to that. As for the rest of the interior, it's comfortable, utilitarian, with a style that blends hits with misses. Clever cubbies and storage solutions abound, including the slightly configurable center console and multiple sizes of door-integrated bottle holders. The dash is sharp-looking, and while the big central digital speedo might seem a big dumb-down for those of us used to actual gauges, I don't think the CR-V's target demographic is going to mind. Some of the interior finishes and controls are a little funky, like an accent trim that appears to be wood grain printed aluminum, OK! And a steering wheel mounted touch channel control for modulating stereo volume that's neat in theory but tough to get the hang of. A few are just awful, like the giant bulky gear selector that makes cheap plastic crashing sounds with every shift. The center touchscreen too is a bit of a miss, it's land unresponsive, and once even froze on me altogether. Although Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are now available to help you bypass some of the Honda's more clunky functions, it seems that with the CR-V Touring's nearly $35,000 price point, there's no excuse for not having smooth functioning infotainment. Ditto for upholstery, which despite the top-shelf trim consists of depressing 90s minivan gray leather that looks like it's already starting to sag and pooch at fewer than 10k miles. Honda has always excelled at really good cloth interiors, but if they really must go the leather route they need to up their synthetics game to compete. Take one look at the immaculate Softex interior in just about any current Toyota and then try to say that Honda can't do better. At least the seats are comfy, heated, and 12-way power adjustable on the driver's side. 4 of those settings are for lumbar alone, and whatever quibbles you might have with interior quality and functions, the CR-V does bring it back around to a home run with its Honda Sense suite of active safety technologies. These include an adaptive cruise control that maintains following distance all the way to 0 miles per hour. It's wild to feel the brake pedal working itself right down to a dead stop, and a lane keeping assist that actually works as advertised at highway speeds, even following curves in the road to keep you centered in your lane over long distances rather than just weaving and bumping off lane markings on either side. Between these two features alone, the CR-V can virtually drive itself on the highway, though I wouldn't recommend that, and neither would the CR-V, which scolds you if it senses your hands aren't on the wheel. It also shakes the steering rather startlingly when it thinks you're veering off the road. The first time this happened I thought a wheel had come loose. While I would tentatively say this tactile feedback could well save a dozing driver's life and is less easy to tune out than competitors' more common squawking and beeping, its tendency for false positives would probably get it disabled by many drivers. So the jury is still out on the road departure mitigation, but the other Honda Sense features were splendid and seemed to work a lot better than competitor offerings. Honda Sense is standard on all trims except the base LX. As a total package, the CR-V represents a nicely edited version of what is already one of Honda's most reliable breadwinners. Sure, it's definitely still got some refinement to dial in on its interior and infotainment, and you'd think this would be a snap, considering Honda's wheelhouse also contains Acura, which has been doing both of these things perfectly forever. Nevertheless, if you're looking to haul the greatest possible volume of stuff while burning the smallest possible amount of fuel, it would be difficult to justify anything other than the CR-V. Throw in available AWD and quite possibly the best functioning safety tech currently on the market, and it's easy to see why CR-V continues to lead the charge in the compact SUV segment, even if the CR-V itself isn't so compact anymore.